Hello everyone, back with another video. So I'm showing the Blu-rays, well, and some 4Ks in my horror films collection. So I've done a couple of videos showing the, I say non-horror, films in general. I think that was 2 videos. I'm guessing this one's going to be 2 videos. I'll try and do like up to L or so. I don't know if 8 hours half the collection. There's probably a lot called like beginning with S and T. I usually find with films, whereas not many beginning with sort of J and stuff like that. What's I going to say? Yeah, before I start, I'll just give a shout out. So on Monday, so I'm recording this Wednesday. I haven't actually worked out the date to tell you the truth, but next Monday, going to be on the live stream again with the movie Looms. So it's hosted by Ollie Loves Films. So yeah, go and check his channel. He's put a thing up talking about when it starts. Yeah, it'd be me, Sammy G from Sammy G's World of Cinema. I think Roy Barrett should be on there, hopefully. He was the week before, but he wasn't able to last week. And then obviously Ollie Loves Films, he hosts it. Got one special guest definitely lined up. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say in case it's a surprise, so I won't. And then hopefully another person coming on. Maybe more people, but yeah, I think the other times it's only sort of been 3. I say other times, I've only done it twice so far. But yeah, Roy was on the first one. I think he had something come up on the one the other day, so hopefully he'll be on the next one. Only other news I've got before I start this is, as you can probably tell, I'm sitting down now. So yeah, I've got it's like a drum stool that I sit on. So yeah, I used to stand up to record the videos, partly so I didn't go on too long. I thought if I sit comfortable, it could go on for hours. But yeah, obviously on the live stream the other day, went on for over 3 hours, I think. So yeah, I thought I can't stand up for that long. So yeah, it's been a bit of a joke in the WhatsApp group and stuff of me having to stand up doing the whole video. Last thing I will say before I start is I am waiting on a parcel to be delivered from Royal Snell. It's Life Force, the 4K from Arrow. Toby Hooper film, Stuart George's favourite. So yeah, I will, if the door knocks, obviously I don't edit, so I'm probably going to have to go in and answer it, but at least I can unbox it and show it to you, although yeah, I'm sure Stuart and other people have seen it. I don't think it gets released the 17th of February, so getting it a bit early, and at the same time I pre-ordered Dress to Kill on 4K, the Brian De Palma film, which doesn't come out, I think, until the 3rd of March, but yeah, mine's not been dispatched, but I know Stuart had it like 6 weeks early. Right, let me turn the camera around in these horror films in the collection. Got this little horror book for Christmas. I'll just move that out of the way. Right, so where do we start? Can I sit down on my stool to do this? Yeah, it adjusts up and down in height, so at least I can sort of show the different shelves without having to kneel down. So yeah, I'll only literally just give a brief sentence or so on each one. So ABCs of Death 2. So I do have part 1. Obviously it's 26 short films by all different directors. Some good, some bad, as you'd expect with a sort of anthology like that. Some pretty big directors on it. I think part 1 was better, to be fair. Abigail. So yeah, one of best, was it last year? 2024. See if I can find it on there. Can't see on there, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it was 2024. But yeah, really enjoyed that one. Young girl in it is a brilliant actress. Everybody in it is good, and it's got some good comedy and stuff. But yeah, I think she was like the star of the show. Do need to watch that one again. I guess once you've watched it 4 or 5 times, you know her well enough to call her Abby rather than Abigail. Alien on Steelbook. So yeah, top 3 or top 5 films of all time. One of my favourite sci-fi films. Don't have too many Steelbooks, but yeah, that's one I wanted to get on the Steelbook. Alien Romulus. So yeah, I really enjoyed this one. I think kind of got quite mixed reviews, but yeah, most people I knew enjoyed it. Yeah, obviously not as good as Alien or Aliens. I was quite Aliens too, but Aliens, James Cameron film. But yeah, one of the better ones other than all those. I haven't seen Covenant or Prometheus, to be fair. Nightmare on Elm Street on 4K, classic. One of my favourites as a kid, still one of my favourites now. Dream Warriors is kind of pushing this, but I think, yeah, this is probably still my favourite. Looks really good on the 4K upgrade. I think you can get a big box of it, but I never got it. A Quiet Place 1, 2, and Day 1. So yeah, I've watched Quiet Place 1 and Day 1, but I've not watched 2 yet. I did enjoy 1 and Day 1, especially the cat in it. Uh, Army of Darkness, otherwise known as Evil Dead 3, really good fun sort of horror comedy, As Above, So Below. So yeah, I really enjoy this one. I've said before a few times, but I like films that are set in like subterranean locations. So, whether under the tube or the subway, or this one is under the Paris catacombs. I watched a lot of videos on YouTube of people exploring that. I'd love to go and explore those, but obviously if you get lost under there, you're basically not getting out and you're going to die. But yeah, I found that one really good. One of the best found footage films I've seen in a while. Some quite good scary bits. The Babadook, I'm not a massive fan of this. I've watched it once, might need to check it out again. Not going to lie, but I did find the woman and the kid quite annoying. How they're arguing all the time and stuff. Baghead. So yeah, I call this Talk to Me Light. It's not awful. I mean, I kind of bought it on the premise. It says on the back that it's got Peter Mulhern, is he called? Peter Mullen out of Session 9 and Tyrannosaur. But yeah, he's really not in it much. He's only got a few minutes. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I think it was one I was going to trade in, but CEX are just offering like a pathetic amount for it, so I'll keep it in the collection. Banana Splits movie. So yeah, it's an old sort of program. I guess it's from the 60s or 70s. I watched some episodes as a kid, but yeah, I think my parents used to watch it and they turned it into a horror. I heard mixed things again. Some people say it's fun, some people say it's kind of silly, which you'd expect, but yeah, I usually enjoy those kind of silly horrors basking. So I think this is a Turkish one, quite disturbing. Won't really go into the plot, but yeah, I do enjoy this one. I think I've watched that twice so far. The Bay, so yeah, an underrated found footage one from Barry Levinson. Not many horror films set at the seaside. Obviously, The Bay, The Fog, what's it called? Dead and Buried, which we'll get to in a minute. But yeah, there's a few. I think Roy Barrett said his favourite sort of location for films is at the seaside. Obviously, Jaws, but I don't really know if they call that a horror. The Belko Experiments, I haven't watched this one, but recommended from Marcus at Xfile 2708, set in an apartment building, apparently, which is my favourite location. This one I've literally only picked up the other day. Heard about this years ago when it came out. I was going to pick it up. I think that was back on DVD. I used to collect then. Never got hold of it. Kind of forgot about it for a while, but it's obviously got Toby Jones in, who I'm a big fan of. And then recently, I'll get to it in a bit, film called In Fabric, which I really enjoy, kind of dark comedy horror, which is made by Peter Strickland. So obviously once I realised this was him, I thought I'd pick up one of his older films. But yeah, I heard good things about that in general. Black Phone with Ethan Hawke, directed by Scott Derrickson. Yeah, I really enjoy this one. It's kind of more of a thriller than a horror, but it has got some like supernatural elements to it. But yeah, I thought that was a really good one. Cannibal Ferox, aka Make Them Die Slowly. So this is a video nasty from Category 1. Umberto Lenzi film. Haven't actually watched this version yet. Hopefully it's fully uncut. They're very similar to Cannibal Holocaust, I think, which I do have on DVD. Caveat. So yeah, this, and one we'll get to in a bit, but I'll talk about it now. Oculus, because it's probably going to be in the part 2. Two of my favourites I've seen, Shudder originals, exclusives, whatever you call them, or at least other than some of the sort of foreign Shudder ones. So yeah, Coffee Table, The Sadness, and Where Evil Lurks, really enjoyed. But yeah, I don't think they've had physical releases, or at least not ones you don't have to import for like over 20 quid off Amazon. Yeah, I know Nikki from Skin Crawlers has spoke about this in the WhatsApp group, but yeah, there's a scene kind of with this woman just so prolonged and really drags out, really sort of tense and creepy to watch. One of the most effective scenes I've seen in a long time in horror. I don't know if anyone's seen the Korean film, it might be Japanese, I think it's Korean, called The Eye. I won't spoil it, but there's a scene in the lift elevator is all I'm going to say, where it's just so drawn out and painful to watch, where yeah, it's just so tense, kind of over a Hitchcock style. Chernobyl Diaries. So yeah, this is another found footage which I haven't actually watched yet, but really find the story of Pripyat and the Chernobyl reactor 3, I think it was called, meltdown. Really find that an interesting kind of story. So I'd like to see a film about it. Haven't actually seen the series of Chernobyl, although I heard it's brilliant. But yeah, when I last looked to get the series, it was still really expensive on Blu-ray, like 20 quid. Child's Play, the remake. Seen this at the cinema. Not a massive fan of how, not a spoiler to say you can see him, but Chucky is a robot, like an AI doll in this. Kind of works. But yeah, some good like kills. One really tense bit in a car, some quite funny bits, and Audrey Plaza's really good in it. Clive Barker's Book of Blood. Directed by John Harrison. Not sure I've seen anything else by him. Haven't watched this one yet, but I do own the Books of Blood. So yeah, The Forbidden, which Candyman was based on. trying to think, a few basically short stories you will know was in the Books of Blood. So I think there was volumes 1 and 2. Cobweb. Yeah, I really enjoyed this one. I'll have to go back and watch it again. I haven't watched it since I first got it. Probably came out like 2 years ago. I've just had a message come through saying they delivered my parcel, but I've not heard a knock at the door, so hopefully they haven't dumped it on the outside where the crackhead keeps stealing people's parcels. Yeah, really enjoyed Cobweb. Kind of a bit of a fairy tale style to it. Colour Out of Space with Nick Cage. His acting in this is really over the top, as you'd expect, or at least from modern Cage. Based on a H.P. Lovecraft story. Yeah, there is one scene in it. I'm not going to go into it. But basically, something that happens with the mum and the son is really disturbing. One of the most like haunting kind of scenes I've seen in a long time. The Conjuring 1, well, just The Conjuring. I always say 1 for these originals, but obviously until part 2 comes out, they're not part 1, are they? Conjuring 2, Conjuring 3, I guess it's called The Devil Made Me Do It. Yeah, I wasn't a massive fan of part 3. Can't really remember it. I think it was directed by see if I can find. I'm having a mental blank on his name. He's out of Hard Candy and all the Insidious. Josh. Why does it not say there? Probably come to me in a minute, but I'm sure. Wow, let me just look on the back of this. Why did none of them say? Oh yeah, Patrick Wilson. I think his name is Josh in it, but yeah, Patrick Wilson directs part 3. But yeah, part 1, an absolute classic, one of the best jump scares ever. Part 2, I don't think it's a better film, but it's a more enjoyable. Really creepy. I really like the sort of old man and the nun came from that, and the crooked man. My mate was moaning about how bad the CGI was on the crooked man, and once I told him it was actually a real person in costume, he was shocked. Cube. So it's kind of a sci-fi horror, low-budget Canadian production. Some of the acting ain't great, but yeah, so compelling, as it says on here, ruthlessly beautiful and compelling. Good film in general. Some really clever bits, yeah, really original, some quite good gore. Surprised they're only a 15 actually. Yeah, like I say, 1 or 2 of the actors aren't great, but it is kind of low budget. But yeah, for me, that's quite an underrated one. Cuckoo, I haven't actually got round to watching this, but yeah, Hunter Schafer, Dan Stevens, who I'm a fan of, he's in a lot of good stuff. Jessica Henwick, I think Dan Stevens is in The Guest, which I haven't actually watched yet, but on the stream the other day, Ollie and that was saying how good it was. Dark Skies. This is like a lenticular kind of slipcase. See if I can get it to. I don't think it's showing on the camera, but I think it's meant to look like the birds fly. Yeah, it's not a great film, but there's not really many alien abduction films out there. So you've got The Fourth Kind, Dark Skies. There's one called Extraterrestrial, which I think I watched years ago or owned, which was quite bad. Got Fire in the Sky. Need for TV one called Intruders. Fire in the Sky, yeah, it really creeped me out as a kid. It's got some real nightmare fuel. Yeah, I watched it not long ago, a few years ago, and it still does stand up. But yeah, Dark Sky is kind of fun. But yeah, I don't know why they're not making more. Obviously, you've got Alien and a lot of sci-fi films with aliens, but it's more like set in space or on a spaceship or on a space station. But yeah, not many actually involving abduction. Dead and Buried. So yeah, one of the better video nasties, written by Dan O'Bannon, that writ Alien, given to me by Ash from Popcorn and Horror. Thank you, Ash. Yeah, I'll kneel down because I'm nearly halfway through this now, I think. Deathline. So yeah, I really enjoyed this one. 1972, I think. Yeah, really gorier than I expected. Better production than I expected. It has Donald Pleasance, and he plays this kind of like Cockney police guy. Really, sort of what's the word? He is funny in it, but yeah, he's always gone on about his cups of tea. Deliver Us from Evil. So yeah, I think this is quite an underrated one. As you can tell, it's kind of a possession. I think near the end when they're sort of trying to exercise the possessed, well, I won't say who it is, but goes a bit silly, not quite off the rails. But yeah, it's got Eric Bana, who used to be a stand-up comedian in Australia and was also in Chopper. But yeah, I find it's quite good. And there's a bit sort of halfway through where a bit in the zoo is all I'm going to say. Probably a bit of a throwback to American Werewolf in London. But yeah, really quite enjoy that one. I think it's quite an underrated one. Della Morte della More, aka The Cemetery Man. So I think this is an Italian one. Video Nasty. Haven't actually got round to that, but heard good things. Don't Look Now by Nicholas Roeg. I was always calling him Roeg, but the other day I watched Walkabout. We'll show that in my watches. Really enjoyed that one. I know it's one Roy enjoyed and said to let him know what I think of it. So if you're watching this, Roy, yeah, I will talk about it more in an upcoming video. But yeah, really enjoyed Walkabout. And this is the same director. So yeah, when I was watching the extras, Jenny Agutter. I think that's how you say her name from Walkabout. Did pronounce his name Nicholas Roeg, so at least I know now because I was calling him Roeg. 8 for Silver, so yeah, one of the best modern werewolf films in my opinion. Not really a spoiler to say it's a werewolf film. Eden Lake. I know Sammy G picked up and watched this one recently. Kelly Riley and Michael Fassbender. I actually know it's directed by James Watkins. Yeah, really harrowing film. It's kind of more of a thriller than a horror. Oh, I am putting it back in the right place. But yeah, it's kind of gritty and depressing, and the ending will leave you angry, not in a kind of way where it's a crap, unfulfilling ending, but yeah, just you'll have to watch it to see. But yeah, I will say it's quite depressing, hard to watch kind of film, but really well made. Evil Dead Rise. So yeah, I heard mixed things about this, but I personally really enjoy this. Some really good gore, quite creepy scenes, set in an apartment building, which I really like. The Exorcist anthology. So yeah, obviously Exorcist 1, an absolute classic. Comes with the extended director's cut, which I think is when she crab walks down the stairs. Exorcist 2 I've not watched yet. I know Jodie is a big fan of it, so I'm going to give it a chance. Some people say it's like just bad. Some people say it's sort of so bad it's hilarious, and other people say it's more maligned than it should be. Exorcist 3, one of my favourite films ever. I've got that on the Arrow 4K. Then you've got Dominion and The Beginning. So I think they're the same film, but it was made once and they weren't happy with it, so they remade it again. I think maybe Rennie Harlan did one of them. But yeah, they're both pretty bad, both quite boring. Not sure which one it is, but I spoke about this on the live stream the other day. But there's a bit with CGI hyenas and they all just look awful on it. I mean, you know, films like Jumanji, probably one of the first to use CGI, or definitely Jurassic Park. And the CGI is more dated than those from like 93 or whenever they came out. I think Jurassic Park was 92, Jumanji was 93. But yeah, the CGI on the hyenas is awful. The Feast, so this is a Welsh film. I only watched this once. Quite a weird, disturbing film. We'll have to check it out again. You know, I'd say it's more of like a drama really than a horror, but I've got it in there because it's got some horrifying scenes. The First Omen. So yeah, I quite enjoyed this. I preferred, we'll get to it probably in the next video. I can't actually see it here to remember the name of it. Don't have to look through the whole collection. Immaculate. Yeah, sorry, I'll be talking about that in a bit. Yeah, I'll get to that when I come to it. Yeah, quite enjoyed First Omen, but yeah, there's one scene, I won't say too much other than something to do with someone giving birth, which was, yeah, quite sort of shocking, I thought, more disturbing than I expected. David Cronenberg's The Fly, one of the best remakes ever. Got the steelbook of this. Yeah, I only really get steelbooks of films I really love, or if I see them sort of cheap. Not too much I can say about The Fly, other than, yeah, brilliant. David Cronenberg's technically his best made film, but I've always preferred Videodrome just for the weirdness. John Carpenter's The Fog. Absolutely love this one. Drenched in atmosphere, set at the seaside. San Antonio Bay, is it called? Great performance from Adrian Barbeau, Jamie Lee Curtis, Tommy Atkins, and Janet Lee, I think you say it. I didn't actually know, but I think Ollie said the other day that that is Jamie Lee Curtis's mum. The Gate. I think this is an 80s one. Can never find a date on these. Yeah, 1986. Yeah, I really enjoyed that one as a kid. Bit of a kind of comedy horror with a really good sort of heavy metal soundtrack. Yeah, don't think I rewatched it on the Blu-ray. I watched it a little while ago on my DVD, in fact 5 years ago. But yeah, one I've always really enjoyed. Get Out. So yeah, the best Jordan Peele one. Not seen Nope. And is there another one by him? I can't remember what it's called. I got Up, which I kind of enjoy some of the scenes in Up, but it doesn't really make sense when they try and deliver the twist. Grabbers. So yeah, set in Ireland. People in a pub drinking and they're attacked by big creatures. Kind of comedy horror. But yeah, really fun, underrated one. Green Inferno. One by Eli Roth, real gory and stuff, but there's a few scenes in it where they tried to have some like black comedy and it just didn't work for me. It kind of took me out of the film. But yeah, really intense, kind of crazy stuff. Some of the people in it, yeah, see if we can see makeup on them, and that really does look the part. But yeah, it's kind of just aping Cannibal Holocaust, but nowhere near as good. I think Thanksgiving is my favourite film by Eli Roth. Hatching, so is it Finnish? Yeah, Finnish language. Yeah, creature feature, quite disturbing, some really gory scenes, some shocking bits. Main girl in it is really good. Yeah, I think that's an underrated one. Would recommend that if people haven't watched that and they're into the world cinema. Hell Driver, so kind of in the vein of like Tokyo Gore Police, Meatball Machine. yeah, kind of over the top gory sort of romp. Haven't actually watched it yet, but heard a lot about it. Hereditary. So yeah, one of my favourite recent horror films of like the last 20 years, or film in general. Yeah, I found this really creepy. I've kind of watched it a few times and you notice, like, without spoiling it, sort of people in the background, in the shadows and stuff. But yeah, brilliant performance by Toni Collette. Don't know how she wasn't nominated for an Oscar. I guess they just look down on horror. Although yeah, it's a drama really. The Hills Have Eyes remake. Is it Alexander Arja? Does that? Yeah, Alexander Arja also does Crawl. He does like one of the French extreme films. Can't remember. I think it might be Inside. But yeah, I prefer that to the original. Really enjoy that. House at the End of the Street. Got it cheap years ago, maybe in the pound shop. Kind of bought it just because Jennifer Lawrence. It wasn't awful, but I just can't really remember much about it, to tell you the truth. Obviously, it's quite forgettable. Hush. So a British film, kind of a thriller chase film, but yeah, really intense. Really, yeah, really enjoyed that one. I have to watch that again soon. Immaculates, that's the one I mentioned earlier with Sydney Sweeney. Really like Sydney Sweeney. Kind of quite a haunting gut punch of a disturbing ending. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. A few people sort of didn't love it, but yeah, I thought, I haven't seen Exorcist the Beginning, I think it's called, a newer one. But yeah, compared to, I think there's one with Russell Crowe called The Exorcist. First Omen. Yeah, I thought that was the best out of the. It's not really straight up an exorcism film. That's underselling it. It's more of a religious horror in the kind of vein of Stigmata, I guess. In a Violent Nature. Haven't actually watched this one yet. Heard mixed things about it. Some people saying it's worth it just for the yoga kill. In Fabric. So that's the one I was talking about. Peter Strickland film. Yeah, really funny, quite messed up, sort of dark comedy. Brilliant performance by. Always forget her name. Marianne Jean Baptiste. Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch that again. I only got it a few months ago, watched it for the first time, but really enjoyed that. Infinity Pool, so yeah, I think that's the best one from Brandon Cronenberg, Son of David. Preferred that to, let me see if I can see it. The Possessor, which I do enjoy, but Possessor is a bit more sort of confusing. Better than Antiviral, which I think was his first film. But yeah, this is quite messed up, but yeah, Mia Goth, amazing in it. Scene when she's sort of shouting at him in a baby's voice, babyish voice, should I say, really good. Sidious the Red Door? Can't really remember. Oh, maybe this is the one. Oh yeah, sorry, this is directed by Patrick Wilson. I was thinking it was Conjuring 3. Yeah, I've watched it once, can't remember anything about it, which obviously isn't a good testament of it. The Invisible Man Extended Edition, directed by Lee Wan-Al, who does Upgrade, which is a great sci-fi film, and I think he done one of the Conjurings or Insidious films. Yeah, I personally enjoy it. I'm not a massive fan of Elizabeth Moss. I think. Elizabeth. Still can't say. I won't cut that out because it's probably funny to people. But Elizabeth Moss. I don't know why that's so hard to say. Yeah, not a massive fan of her, but I thought it was quite fun in general. Yeah, some people I know aren't a massive fan of it. So obviously, is it Andy? Oh, I can't tell. This thing with Steelbooks, it never gives you any information. I think it's Andy Muschietti. Yeah, I really liked the first part. Kind of a bit of a coming of age with all the kids, some really creepy scenes. But part 2 fell on its ass for me. Didn't like that at all. The CGI and it was awful. And like 3 hours long. Seeing that at the cinema, didn't enjoy it. It Follows, one of the best modern horror films in my opinion. It works just because it's not really a spoiler to say, but the kind of, I don't know if it's like, it's an allegory or a metaphor for like sexual disease that you can pass on to people. But yeah, basically it could be anyone. It's a bit like Smile, where obviously someone's smiling and you don't know if they're evil. So anyone can just start walking at you, an old lady, a kid, and the way they film it, it's kind of tense where, you know, someone's walking towards them and you're like, is this the thing that's following me? So yeah, basically once you're infected with the It Follows kind of virus, I guess you call it, it'll chase you, so you can move across the whole globe, and you might buy time, but it will eventually get to you. And yeah, they play really well on the fact, it's a bit in the park where some kid's just walking towards her looking evil, and she thinks it's going to attack her, and then he just walks past, and then so anybody could be the kind of villain, which I think was quite original. Krampus, so yeah, one of my favourite Christmas horror, really fun, directed by Michael Dougherty, that does Trick or Treat, which is one of my favourite Halloween horrors. Lamb, haven't actually got round to this. It's an Icelandic film. Meant to be a folk horror. Meant to be quite sort of intense and disturbing. Last Exorcism, seen this years ago. Can't really remember too much about it, which again probably isn't a good indictment of its quality. Yeah, I do like Exorcist films, but obviously they got oversaturated. But a lot of people told me it was one of the better ones, but I might have to watch it again. One I've got quite recently, watched it the other day, so a spoiler for my next recent watches video, but The Last Voyage of the Demeter. Yeah, I really enjoyed this one, kind of like the setting on the boat, really good acting in general, sort of creepy story. Some of these, they don't really show the main creature a lot, but no, they showed him quite well. Not too much where, he's in the light too early and ruins the suspense, but yeah, I thought that was quite a good one. Right, it's gone on 25 minutes, so I'll stop there. Actually, I've gone over halfway, so at least the next one won't be as long. Let me get back on my chair and flip this round for the end. Yeah, so yeah, that's part one. I'll do part two. I guess hopefully only on about 18 minutes, unless I waffle on like normal. So yeah, everybody, if you watch this before Monday, I think I got to upload this today. Yeah, like I said, recording it on Wednesday. Then yeah, be nice if anyone can tune in to the live stream on Ollie Loves Film channel. I'll leave a link down below. Try and leave a link to the people I spoke about, but unless I go back and watch the video before I upload it, I'm probably going to forget some of the people I've sort of mentioned. But yeah, I will obviously link Ollie's channel so you can get on there to watch the stream. But like I said, it's going to be me, Sammy G, Ollie, hopefully Roy Barrett, at least one special guest. So yeah, tune in for that. Last one did go on for 3 hours, so I'm not sure how long this one will go on for, but yeah, my first time ever being on a live stream the other day and really enjoyed it. Ollie is a great host, as I said before. So yeah, I'll be back with part two of the horror collection soon. Thank you, everybody. Bye.